musron tropo namo nyine tipro ko de no no kombo oh samokron pina fanonye nyono komo yansi atia munombo yenu mona to your wedgie, Yoni on no woe, Cletty wetty wetly, oh Mungo man, Pina there when ye, Omuna we won't, Omuye too, ye more die. Sono mosienyo o mona kunyo nye kodrudi ni ane sonja bri kwi kwinyo wura wurenyo ye mu besie nye swa mona wiwo o munjetu ye modeko
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of On Point on our Mother System Focus on Liberia. We have some great partners, some great panelists. Mr. Isaac Hayes, great Gagu, you got that. Mr. Gay, a great one. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a great show for you, ladies and gentlemen. We have with me Mr. Aliu Kamara, the supporter of Joseph Boykai and the train. With me, also my co-host is Mr. Jimmy Eastman, an independent voice here on Focus on Liberia. To my left is Anthony Gay. He is a supporter of the ANC. As always, our special guest is Mr. Tiah Blamo, a prolific writer and astute, I would say, adjudicator of politics, political justice in Liberia. He will be here to share with us his thoughts on the elections in Liberia, the campaign, what we have done, where we need to go. We will also be joined later on by Mr. Elvis Morris, another constant on our show here. And our special guest is trying to get in, Mr. Elton Tiah. Mr. Elton Tiah is the CEO of Ableejay TV in Grand Bassa County. He covers Grand Bassa, Riverside, and Mangibi. He will be covering and giving insight on the president's visit to Bassa, Comey's visit to Bassa, Joseph Boykai's visit to Bassa, and etc., etc., all the candidates that have visited Grand Bassa County. And he's going to give an account and give an honest assessment from what he knows, what he has covered. And then we will quote him. We will ask him some questions. And then at the end, he will decide, based on what's happening on the ground, whether he will be able to handicap the race. Who's up, who's down, who has potential. And then finally, there is a bitter war brewing in Grand Crew in District Number 1 between a gentleman by the name of Alfred Bowe. Alfred Bowe is taking on the incumbent, I think his name is Bowie. That race have turned out to be the race to watch in Grand Crew County. We have Mr. Elton Tiah. Mr. Tiah has come in. We hopefully, I think he's having a problem with his internet.
It's the camera doesn't look like it
is on.
It's connected. There we go.
There you go. Okay, so Grand Crew County is on fire. We are looking at one young Alfred Bowe. He on the incumbent, Mr. Bowie. And that race, everybody is saying it is the race to look out to. It's the race, one of the races to watch in Liberia, and we'll keep a close eye on who is Mr. Alfred Bowe and why he wants to take out the incumbent. There you go. Welcome, Mr. Elton Tiah. How is Buchanan? Can you hear me?
Well, thank you so kindly, Mr. Giman. Buchanan is doing great. I like there. I'm getting loud and clear.
Go ahead. Introduce yourself, who you are, and why are you here. Obviously, you are our special guest, but most people do not know.
Well, I want to say thanks for making me to be a part of this program today. My name is Elton Tiah.
He froze.
His internet is slow, so just wait to talk.
Is he calling from Liberia?
Yes, from Buchanan.
Oh, okay. There's a lag there, yeah.
Is there a way he can do it on the phone through WhatsApp? Just call you direct.
Well, we'd like to see his face. Why he's talking or why he's trying to connect. I think he was on his Bluetooth. I think he's getting off his Bluetooth. Mr. Blamo, introduce yourself. You look like a gentleman who knows everything. I've seen a lot of your writing. You have done a lot of writing. And unfortunately for me, I was introduced to your writing just recently by Mr. Dennis Jar. Obviously, you have an exclusive list of people to whom you send your writing, and I was able to see it for the first time. Introduce yourself, please.
Well, my name is Tiah Blamo. I began my political career in Buchanan, Grand Bassa County, as president of the Wellenberg Technical Training Center Student Council. And I was Assistant Secretary General of PAR, the Backward Matthew Party, during the early revolution. And we were very instrumental in putting pressure on the government for change. And then later on went to the Ministry of Health and Social Welfare, where I served as a director in the Bureau of Social Welfare. And I went to the United States and Germany, and have been writing and between the last 15 or 20 years as chairperson of the Athena International. My background is in sociology, psychology, and public administration, and basically politics has been my passion. And I'm very much interested in a nationalistic approach to the problem in Liberia. I believe that the focus on the presidency is not necessarily a solution, because the presidency itself could be a contributing to the problem because of our history. And our history from 1847 have been where we have marginalized the indigenous people in the counties, and we have created a emperor status in the presidential office. And until we can create a balance of power and do what the CDC people call empowerment of the people, but in the total empowerment of the people, where you will have power centers, and that will have power center checking power centers. And that can be done by electing superintendents that will bolster the leadership role of the counties, where the superintendent working with the legislators, and monitoring centers and regions. And Mr. Eastman once called the rules of engagement. If you have a system like that, and then our check and balance system can operate, and then we can hold people accountable. But right now, as it is, the people have no experience in elections and removing people from offices and replacing them. There's no real experience. Democracy is a growth process. The people have to learn. And if these people were electing their county officials, they will gradually develop the skills that can be transferred to the national level. The great United States that had elections and democracy today started out from some ragged farmers who didn't know anything, and they basically built from their experiences. In Liberia, we don't have. We have a system of government that is centralized in Monrovia and is built from the 1847 plantation style structure. Until we do something different, those people we are trying to elect our president will always have difficulties in serving the people, and the people will lack the experience in holding those they elect accountable.
Thank you.
So that would be a big problem.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah,
you can see he's a sociologist, he's a professor, he's ready to lecture. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Gay, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. For a moment, I was, kind of, trying to find, when he doing an introduction or when he, ready to get into his main conversation. But
brother,
welcome to the show, Mr. Blamo. I don't know if you're related to Pastor Anthony Blamo.
Mr. Gay, go ahead and introduce yourself. Let's go. Right. You're accusing him for going into something else, and now you go into something else.
Sorry, I had a...
Go ahead, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, while Mr. Gay is getting ready, please go do us a favor, share this show individually or on your pages, on your website, on your wall. Please do that because this thing is going to get heated. Mr. Kamara, introduce yourself to our new audience who don't know who you are.
Oh, I doubt that there are any audience who don't know who I am. Anyways, I am Aliyu Kamara, popularly known on Facebook as Aliyu B. Samba. Just the everyday guy who Mr. Eastman doesn't like.
Mr. Elvis Morris.
Thank you, Mr. Gayman. I just want to say I hope we're on YouTube live this time around because yes, last week's show we wasn't on YouTube, so the people missed us on YouTube. So hopefully we're simultaneously on YouTube and Facebook. But I want to say thank you for having me on the show. I think the politics is heating up, and I'm excited to hear from Mr. Tiah. So let's get started.
Great. Mr. Eastman from the nation's capital.
I don't know what Aliyu is up to, trying to make this thing some personal matter. If we have a difference of opinion, doesn't mean I don't like you.
I just joking, man.
I know you're joking, but I just want to say it. Difference of opinion, we're supposed to be tolerant. We're supposed to have a difference of opinion. And I am one who believes Liberia cannot progress without unity. Unity is essential for our progress. And anybody who is against it, yes, then I am against them. So that's who I am. I'm coming to you from the national capital and ready to talk about things that will affect us tomorrow, our country, our people, and hopefully we'll throw light on some topics that may influence their decision when they go to the ballot box.
Great. Now that we are sharing our show, please, gentlemen, on the show, I know you have your own separate platform. You got huge following. Please share the show in addition to what we have done. Take your time to do. Mr. Gay, 1 minute, please. Welcome and introduce yourself to our audience.
Thank you. My name is Anthony Gay. One of the panelists here, and I look to a spirited conversation this evening. I promise not to interrupt anyone, and no one should interrupt me. Thank you.
Great. Mr. Gay, please do us a favor. You have a big platform. Please share this show on your wall and in your individual chat room. Mr. Elton Tiah, welcome. This is your first time on our show. We are giving you the cold water here. We're giving you a welcome. Mr. Tiah, please, Mr. Elton Tiah, please introduce yourself. Let's give another shot.
Yeah, it's not working out.
All right, I don't know what you getting me loud and clear. Am I better?
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead now.
Am I better now?
Yes.
Don't answer him twice, Mr. Goodman. To hear you.
All right, thank you so much. I want to say I'm grateful being here tonight. I want to say thanks for inviting me in. My name is Elton Tiah. I'm the founder of Ableejay TV and now Ableejay Radio and TV in Grand Bassa. I once established the county first newspaper known as the Ableejay newspaper. And I was the only writer of that paper until we transformed to Ableejay TV and now Ableejay Radio. So it's Ableejay TV, radio, and newspaper regarding Grand Bassa. And I'm so honored that we are live from Grand Bassa specifically at this time. And I want to apologize that the internet situation in our country is just something that cannot be overemphasized. But I'm hopeful that we're going to have a very great discussion tonight on this platform.
Great. Mr. Elton Tiah, the campaign has just begun. It is heating up. And for some reason, we keep hearing this thing called the Bassa Belt. Bassa Belt. And you have been inundated with campaign slogans, paraphernalia, the candidates themselves, their surrogates. So we are glad that you were here to give us an eagle or bird's eye view of what you see, what you experience on the ground in Grand Bassa County. We are pundits. We are here. We can only read, but you are on the ground. You interview these candidates. You know who they are. Can you tell us now, how is the Bassa politics?
Well, Mr. Gilman, I want to say thanks again. But as it stands right now, I can simply let the county and the world know that Grand Bassa remain a no-go zone for a particular individual or a particular political party or a particular candidate at the moment. To give you a little background of history, when we started journalism years back, or from the 2005 range, the Liberty Party used to be the strongest party in Grand Bassa County in terms of the politics. And one thing that made the Liberty Party strong was the late Charles Walker Brumskin when he was alive. Grand Bassa alone had up to 5 persons who were lawmakers as members of the Liberty Party, and they came from the Liberty Party. You had Honorable J. Baron Brown, who was representative on Liberty Party ticket. You had the former representative Gabriel Smith, Liberty Party. The late Hans Bachu was affiliated with the Liberty Party. You got Janiton Carpin, Liberty Lawrence, Liberty Party, and the caucus is made out of 7 different individuals. And from 2005 upward, who were from the Liberty Party. And that alone gave the Liberty Party a kind of a strength, that was very good for them.
And
A kind of a
really?
strength that actually helped the Liberty Party out. A kind of a strength that made the Liberty Party one of the strongest political parties within Grand Bassa. But since the demise of the late Charles Walker Brumskin, when Senator Nolikanga Lawrence took over, this fight between Mr. Musa Hassan Ability and that of Senator Nolikanga Lawrence started just of recent. But prior to that, Liberty Party started losing its taste in Grand Bassa after Gabriel Smith was booted out from the representative post. He was replaced with a CDC lawmaker, Matthew Joe. You have Baron Brown being replaced with Vincent Willie, who is an independent candidate but support George Weah. You also have, the late Mbaju, who was like independent candidate, but he's no more. You got Manamerikawa now of District Number 2. So actually, what happened is that the Bassa Legislative Caucus now is made out of independent candidates and that of a few people from political parties. Liberty Party now got no more stand as it relates to the political landscape of our county. For those of you listening to us internationally this time, what is happening at the moment is that you want to get Senator Lawrence and Honor General Kape as the 2 key Liberty partisans that are on the caucus of 7 persons. Senator Lawrence is serving a second term, and this issue of the Liberty Party has actually led the party, to lose a serious strength in the county. Senator Kape, being a senator of our county as well, is not really as strong like before when he came in, thus making the Liberty Party be a bit, not that strong anymore. What is happening now in Grand Bassa is that the CDC is gaining more momentum. The opposition, particularly Joseph Yuma Boakai, I'm being specific with the individual. The opposition, specifically Joseph Yuma Boakai, who comes from the Unity Party, is gaining a very huge favor on ground that people see him as a man that can transform Liberia. People see him as a man that can make a serious difference in Liberia. And looking at Nolikanga Lawrence, who still have a very strong base in terms of working with our own people, to Ambassador Boakai. Boakai got too many strong United partisans that support him on ground. It makes him one of the strongest person in Grand Bassa County. So you got Weah, you got Joseph Yuma Boakai. The next person is Councillor Charlene Brumskin, who is now the running mate. So she's still possessing the name of her late father, Charles Walker Brumskin. People still see Councillor Charlene Brumskin as a face that represents the late Charles Walker Brumskin. And when she came to contest for the representative post, with the level of work she carried out and her time she gained a level of momentum. So obviously, her work within the county has given the ANC a little taste that could also say safely that we got 3 political parties or 3 strong persons that make up Grand Bassa County. But in terms of the way in right now, you got the United Party and the CDC being strong political parties. So for our county, we cannot tell you exactly who is the owner politically of Grand Bassa County. But what we can simply let you know is that it's a tough political zone right now in Grand Bassa in terms of the campaign. Just quickly before I can drop, for the CDC, you got top guy supporting George Weah. The leg of Vincent Willie, who is a strong representative in electoral district number 4. He has done well, and the people keep praising him. Every time he enters a district, people are always willing to come out when he calls them. He's a strong person. He supports Wea. You got Matthew Joe, who is the incumbent for Buchanan district. He's another strong man who might likely get re-election. He's also supporting, George Weah. For the same Weah, you got the man Emmanuel Sherman. Is also supporting Weah. You got Dr. Lawrence Comer Brockler. You got Dano Chie, who once contested for the senatorial seat. He's also supporting Weah. These are people who still got some level of political base within the county. They support Weah. For Boakai, you got Nomi Kanga Lauren, obviously, who cannot just be underestimated easily in Grand Bassa County. She's rooted here. The name Kanga is a name that you cannot divulge from the politics in Grand Bassa County because you got Reverend Dr. Abakanga still living. And people still listen to him. You got Jonathan Kapi, who is still going back for his second term. They believe within it. The people still believe in him. And besides that, you got Madam Julia Bono, who built the city hall in Buchanan City. People describe Madam Julia Bono as Legacy Bono. She got people that believe in her. So with these kind of people, it tells all of us that the county now is at a crossroad, and we do not have a particular person who owns Grand Bassa County right now. I want to hold on there and hear from you if there are questions.
Excellent analysis. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Eastman, Mr. Kamara, this is Bassa politics in a nutshell. We are pundits. We are here, we read, and then we analyze. You are now talking to a gentleman, a journalist, the CEO of the largest television, radio, and newspaper in Grand Bassa County that covers all the different candidates. Here is the truth. This is where the tire meets the road, where he is saying everything that we are saying.
I got a question for him, Mr. Goodman.
Yes, 1 minute. I'm coming to that. So we are coming here to look at few things that covers or encompasses a political campaign. We'll be looking at the crowd politics. We'll be looking at the messaging. Then we'll be looking at what happens when the candidates leave town. Does the message resonate or it goes with him or her? Then we are going to look at, we are going to put him on a hot seat as a man who has done several pollings to give us his take. If election were held today, Sunday, how would the country be split up into pieces? Mr. Kamara, go ahead.
Yeah. I got one question, but I got one to be curious about. Ableejay. Particularly why Ableejay. But again, just add this to it. When you started your expose, you said that Grand Bassa County is a no-go zone for certain individuals. Yeah. I didn't quite understand that. What do you mean no-go zone?
Thank you for that question. Myself, I wanted to ask that question.
Mr. Elton Tiah.
All right. I think I understood the question when I said, no goals. In other words, is a terminology meant to tell all of us that there is no particular person who owns this county right now. The county is actually at a very big point. Are you getting me?
Yes.
Yes. My question is, I heard what he said, but it sounds like nothing because we are very much aware of the energy that is being poured in our county, and all the parties are trying real hard. So I would like to know, what is the message? What is the CEC message? What is the broadcast message?
Can you restate the question?
What from your point of view, what is the message that the parties are sending forward? And from your point of view, are the people getting the message? What do they represent? Because we know that the different parties are coming at Grand Bassa from different direction. We know CDC got strength. We know Barker got strength, and we know Wembley got foundation.
Okay, he got it.
Okay, I got a question. So this is it, right? You know, I want to be very blunt here tonight. Or the electrics, let me put it this way, that we got in Liberia right now, it cannot be compared to 2005 and 2017. I want to be clear with that. The electors have understood certain things and they are understanding certain things differently. And what are those things? The electors are getting to understand who is fooling them and who they think can make the difference. They are understanding the messages across like that. Who you will see with CDC, but they do not support CDC. There are people you will see with Buchanan, but they do not support Joseph Human Buchanan in the county. There are different messages going across. CDC is coming up with a message that is telling the Liberian people they've worked a lot, you know, and they believe that electing them, they're going to give Liberia, you know, more different battles, specifically where I am today. A message that is resonating across the county. But on the contrary, Joseph Buchanan and his team on the rescue mission are coming up with the message that George Weah, our President George Weah, described CDC as a failed, you know, a gun. They are saying no good roads, the healthcare delivery system is poor. The rescue mission is saying they are here to rescue Liberia, and we have to say no, you can't rescue Liberia. But the message with the rescue team that is resonating in agriculture is key, and everyone in Liberia wants to work to earn something for themselves. And this is where, to be very fair here, President George Weah has not done much. Though in terms of job creation, I can simply let you know that there have been some job creations in Grand Bassa. As we speak, I just from the cement factory, they're recruiting people to work as well. You know, these are just different jobs. You got project, you got AFCON providing job. But the CPP, or sorry, the rescue team is saying, no, we need to provide more companies that will come to our people to make them work. And the people are buying the idea that they need to work. And George is saying we started something, but COVID-19 came in, it derailed the process. Really let us, we'll continue from where we stopped. CPP is saying we are the one to fix this country. Braga has messed this country up. We are to join, he has spoiled the country, and we can fix the country by bringing, you know, better education system, better healthcare system, and you just need the rest, you know. So these are the different messages. But the people are analyzing it, and they are gradually grappling who is becoming real and who is not real.
I have a question for you, Mr. Tiah. Thank you for that explanation. My question is, you did say you cover you're one of the largest TV stations in the county. Do you cover the whole Grand Bassa County? How far is your coverage? We're trying to understand the extent of your reach and your influence. Are you a TV show or a radio show?
Okay, so I'm doing online, a very big radio station in Buchanan. Covers all parts of Grand Bassa and even beyond. Portion of Margibi, Bong, people get us there, and Rivers. So we are doing radio, we are doing TV, and we are doing newspaper.
The TV is online, you said? Or is it broadcast TV?
Yes. No, it's online like this. Yeah, it's online like the
Okay.
Focus on Africa.
Okay.
All right,
Very good.
I got a question. If nobody got one, can I ask one?
I have a question. I have a question.
Listen, Mr. Gay, then after Mr. Gay, Mr. Elvis. Go ahead, Mr. Gay.
Mr. Tiah, thank you for your presentation. I have one question for you, and that has to do with you. I know you were talking about the different individual that have different political leverages in the county, but you did not mention anything about the senatorial race. And we have the former Foreign Minister of Bassa who is running to be senator again. He once served that county as a senator and was also the Senate Pro Tem of Liberia. He also endorsed the CPP. Can you elaborate on how that race is going and what change does he stand?
All right. I think I got your question. Sorry that the network is really hampering me, but I'm doing all I can to just to get you gradually. Westonga Finley, the name Westonga Finley, obviously in Grand Bassa, is not an ordinary name. Westonga Finley is a strong man in terms of his political backings in the county. Westonga Finley has served the people of Bassa. And look, let me be blunt to tell you that Westonga Finley is being remembered for one key or few things in Grand Bassa. When he was first a senator for Grand Bassa, there's a company called Buchanan Renewable. It came through their advocacy. And there's a community today called the New Buchanan Community that got beautiful houses. That place would be a bush before, but now it's a very big community with thousands of houses today. Because people work with that company, they were able to open that community, and it's called New Buchanan today. Finley served as senator. He was booted out on grounds that people felt he was not doing the right thing, and he came back. 2020, Senator Lawrence won him with just a little over 2,000 plus votes because he was like in 20,000, in 22,000 plus votes. So obviously, it tells you that Finley is still strong. One thing that is happening now is that Finley has gone back, or is now back in the community, telling the people of Grand Bassa, though Councillor Bronsky is dead, but we have realized that we are one people in Grand Bassa. And fighting among ourselves is not the right way. Evidence by that, he had joined hands with Councillor Charlie Bronskin, the daughter of the late Charles Walker Bronskin. And he have gone there and they are in the community and report, if I was one of those fighting Bronskin, I want you to forgive me. And Charlie Bronskin, who is carrying a message, Phil is a good man on grounds that he has realized what he did was wrong, and we are all one family, and they are all one family rather, and they are working together. And for the fact they're working together, she's taking the message of Finley Charlie Bronskin, and Finley is taking it. Finley wanting to be senator, he's a very strong figure right now in Grand Bassa. Finley stand a better chance to win. Jante Bakwe stand a chance to win. Jonathan Kape stand a chance to win. But if you got to look at the chances right now, Finley got some big chances because some of the surveys we've conducted, it gave Finley some level of sympathy. He contested, he was defeated in 2014. He came again in 2020, he was defeated. Now he's back as independent candidate, but supporting a daughter of Grand Bassa County. So that alone makes Finley, a strong person right now as we speak. Though he got a lot of work to do, people still wants to see him working, want to do more, but he's still a strong political figure. I don't know if that really answers the question.
Now, I just wanted you to throw a light on that because you were mentioning representative candidates, but you did not mention the senatorial candidate. That's all I wanted you to do. I'm not looking for sympathy for the CPP. I just wanted you to touch the very aspect as a journalist. That's all.
And that's fair enough. Mr. Morris.
Thank you, Mr. Gilman. I want to kind of understand what are the. Are you guys getting me?
Yes.
Okay. I just want to understand the hierarchy of the different parties. I mean, he was being too diplomatic when he was giving his analysis about the different parties. When you're looking at CDC, ANC, or CPP, and the Unity Party, how will you rank them in terms of who have control over Grand Bassa? Because it can't be equal. Everything can be the same.
I think he said Joe Barker leads.
How do I rank them?
Joe Barker can lead over.
difficult way to give them rankings right now. Let me respond to that. In 2017, the political landscape in 2017 is not as the same political landscape in this 2023 election. In 2017, it was a different ballgame. This 2023 is a different ballgame. What I want to know is that electors these days, they are very crafty. Today, when you are coming, they will run to you and they come in huge number. Tomorrow, when I'm coming, once they know I can afford something, they're also going to follow me too and come in a very huge number. When the next person is coming, they also follow as well. But looking at the people with huge followers right now, these are the three groups. If we're ranking, I would say let's hold a ranking until after the election, then we know where to go because there are too many different collaborations right now. You know, the marriages, political marriages are many. So I cannot 100% say that and say this person is higher, this person is lower. No, because we have not gone to election looking at the different marriages. Senator Lauren is now supporting Bassa. We don't know what will be the strength like this election. She didn't support Bassa, you know, in the past election. So you can go right ahead there.
Great. Mr. Kamal, real quick, and we'll go to the next question. Go ahead.
Yeah, a couple of things. Ableejay TV, if I'm correct, they have conducted series of polls for the presidency in Grand Bassa County. I want him to be equivocal or unequivocal about the response to that question. So far, what has his polling indicated? And secondly, he said that, you know, people can be behind Judge Weah, but they're not supporting Judge Weah, and people behind Bassa and so forth, not supporting Bassa. What is a yardstick of measurement? How does he determine who is actually supporting an individual and who is not?
So we've conducted several opinion polls, and I think I got some of those results just right with me here where I am. And to be fair with you, the recent opinion poll that we conducted, this is it. It was just like a few days ago. Bassa overwhelmingly won Weah. And what was the total number of callers we have by then? And anyone watching me from Grand Bassa will attest to it because these were announced. It's still on a page, and I keep them for record as well. So when you ask a question, I just look through my call and I took it up. The opinion poll, we had the total of 160 callers coming in. In out of 160 callers, President George Weah got 64. Joseph Human Bassa got 81. Alexander Cummings got 15 in a recent one. Just like I think it was like 3 to 4 days ago we had this. So it was 64-81. We are 64, Bassa 81, and you got Cummings 15. The previous one we held, it was Bassa tapping with, I don't know, let me get it straight, but it was still Bassa in the lead, and we were just net with 10 votes margin. And the first one, President Weah had the highest margin of 74, while Bassa had 56, and Cummings had 32. You know, obviously Bassa is actually going high in terms of the opinion polls that is being conducted here.
Great.
Thank you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes.
Can I let Mr. Blambo speak? Then I'll do a follow-up question.
Mr. Blambo, you next.
Well, from what I heard from the speaker, it seemed that he even doubts the commitment of some of the voters. And then on the issue of calls, and you have to have access to get to the studio. So the survey is nice, but it does not give an adequate picture of what really on the ground. Some people are showing and T-shirt or Bassa, and then they holding a sticker of CDC. So given the dynamics of what's going on, and my impression of what I'm hearing is Grand Bassa County is a toss-up, and that's something that we'll be following in the next few days.
But
am I correct?
Yeah, but to be fair to Mr. Tiah, he said it from the beginning that it was basically a no man land. I mean, nobody can claim exclusive right to Grand Bassa County. It's anybody's win. It's anybody's loss. That's why he said it from the beginning, and it's very consistent, because in the United States, when we do polling, we do. Go ahead.
Mr. Game, I'm not cutting you off. But one reason why I did not focus on the opinion pool is this. There are people calling on radio. It's possible that an individual could say somewhere, change the voice, call 2-3 times. It doesn't really tell us the real picture. But when you go out in the communities and you listen to what people are saying, go to the Tiah centers, you listen, it gives you a real picture. That's why from the beginning I was not focused, but you asked about opinion pool. That's why I brought these results.
What do you gather from the Tiah centers?
I could just sit anywhere.
So I'd like to ask you a question, Mr.
Tiah centers, that's exactly what I brought to the book.
Okay.
That's why you wrote in the book. Okay.
Let me ask you something, Mr. Tiah. You being in among the community, how influential are chiefs and other leaders there? Do you see the potential of anybody influencing voters in a certain way? And do you see that? Like the chief or the elder or somebody from a particular group? Are they?
I think the major influence I've observed so far, there are 3 M's in politics. And these are the 3 M's that the politicians use on a daily basis. They use the money, they use the message, and they use the manpower. So if any of these M's, is actually lacking, obviously, in Liberia, trust me, you're not going to easily win the election. You need money, you need a message, and you need a manpower. When all of these things are okay, it makes you, or it gives you winning the election. In terms of influence, obviously, every politician here, they are using finance to influence people, to make them know that they can do it. Others are using messages. So there are different kind of influences that are going on right now. People who will not have the kind of a financial strength, they will use their message. People who have the financial strength, they are using the finance and also the message to influence the voter. But just before I can close, I want to make something very clear to one of our viewers here. The opinion pool that was just announced, it was not opinion pool conducted by this platform. It was something, a question that was asked. And we had to make reference to the opinion pool. We made it very clear that the opinion pool is not signal that anyone is really fully in the lead in Grand Bassa, except the election. So I thought of just bringing that in.
Great. Mr. Tiah, let's go to the...
I have a follow-up question, though. I said I wanted to do the follow-up question after Mr. Blambo speaks.
Okay, go ahead.
So I like the fact that we have somebody who has a radio station that covers the entire Grand Bassa County and also go beyond Grand Bassa, River says, and Cape Mount and whatnot. And I think he says something. I'm asking specific questions because sometimes people misunderstand people when they say something. If you have an individual who is running for the Senate seat and is taking a message that is resonating with the people, let's unite. We are one people. Whatever happened between me and Bronskin, we are one people, and supporting the Bronskin daughter, and that daughter having to be the vice presidential candidate for a political party who is a solitaire in the race. I can speak of that. Then we have to look at the picture because a senatorial candidate is the entire county. It's not a representative candidate. And if that candidate is resonating with a daughter of a well-known man from the county, you got to be telling yourself as a political analyst that something is working for a group that people are overlooking. It's not because I'm from the CPP. I'm using my analytical skills here to kind of needle this thing in a way that people will understand. She was a representative candidate, got picked to be a vice presidential running mate. It's a huge deal for Grand Bassa County. Forget about who is supporting who. It's a huge deal because this is a position that Grand Bassa County will be right next to the presidency. Then a candidate who also running for a senatorial seat is gaining momentum. So you sit there and do your analysis, whatever you want. Senator Yomli Kangalori is not on the ballot, though she is supporting a presidential candidate, but she is not on the ballot. The two people that are on the ballot are Councilor Charlene Bromsky as a vice presidential running mate and Bessinger Phoenix. Those are the two people from Grand Bassa County that will help the top tickets. So I just wanted to make that point. And so, based on that analysis and based on that backdrop, we can clearly say that the CPP have an edge. Will you agree, Mr. Tiah?
They just had 18% recently in the poll.
That calling, they just told you.
I think we just in the same line.
I already told you that
because when I started, I said we got the three. Yeah, we said all three of them. I said the CPP, I said the United Party, I said the CDC. The three of them are the top three in Grand Bassa. I said that from the beginning of my statement. So we are still in the same line.
Let me ask a quick question there, Mr. Gilman.
No, let's go to our next topic here. I think you touched on it, Mr. Tiah. You said when the crowd politics, there will be time that when Waka comes, everybody gravitate towards him. When we comes, the people go there. When Cummings come, they go there. I can attest to that because my brother is a registered Unity partisan, but he's running campaign for President Weah, and there might be some Seditian in Buchanan that are also campaigning. So I agree with you.
What your brother's name is again, man?
I don't want to call his name.
I don't want to call my brother name on the show. Come on,
my people are doing very well. Go ahead.
Listen, my brother name is Josiah Gaiman. He's the vice president for the university.
I could have came up with that.
If there's nothing hidden, when you go to Bassa, you call the name, everybody knows the name. So there's nothing hidden. He is a registered Unity partisan, but he's campaigning for the president. And I'm sure the same thing on the other side. There are other people from the CDC. And like Mr. Elton Tiah is saying, there are people like people who will vote for Finley in the Senate race, but will not vote for Boyka or will not vote for Cummings. They will vote for him as a senator, but vote for George Weah as a presidential candidate. Same thing back and forth. So when he says, oh yeah, they do. I have seen people. We've seen people who say, "I will vote for this candidate. I will vote for Joseph Boyka as the president for the country, but when I vote for, let's say, Nukwe or what is the gentleman in Lofa County? What's his name? Senator from Lofa County."
Can I come in 1 minute?
Yes, go ahead.
Mr. Tiah,
yes,
Mr. Tiah, I really enjoy your expert. I understand you're playing it cool. You're trying to be on the safe side. But hey, let me just assure you, on this platform, you are protected. You started your conversation by saying there are actually two formidable candidates in Grand Bassa County. And that's Joseph Yuma Fuakai and George Weah. And to be on the safe side, you threw comments in there. My question to you prior, though, is this thing that Mr. Gilman is trying to hammer on. Listen, can you tell me, as a journalist, what measure did you use to actually identify who is supporting who and pretending to be supporting another person?
Sorry, that question is a bit hypothetical, but I like it, and I think we're gonna take our time to respond to it. One good thing I can let you notice that I was born here, I grew up here, I went to school here, I'm still here, except for a few days that we travel, come right back, travel and come right back, but it will not take me even a month, I'll come right back. What I want to simply let you know here is that you get to know the real people when you have interactions with them. You get to know people from their Facebook post. You get to know the real people from even their conversations on the radio and conversations with people. in Buchanan, and you see a man wearing a CDC shirt, for example, right? And after a few times, you see, say, I'm a Baka person, but I need to go there because somebody gave me money. I think if you go to social media, you will see similar scenarios of such going on. People will say, oh, CDC pay these people. You see, people that know attend my CDC share over, other people that know they are not real. If you go to social media, you're going to see those things. And similar things, you see them vividly in our setting. Sorry to use the word, but our setting is not that kind of a setting that got too many educated people, mostly in the rural areas, are compared to the city limits. There are people who they come to you for t-shirts in a rural area, like if you're going to number 4 district, and try to use the word, somebody who is like ordinary man, he sees George we are coming, it makes him excited. He sees Joseph Waka coming, it makes him excited. He as something that can help him out in the community to word it around. But in another word, he
Who's
doesn't see
spending
us
the
that
most money in
there's a
Ghana?
singer that is fully supported. Or you see him with Charlie Bronskin teacher or the who's spending more money?
Yeah.
Mr. Tiah,
well, right now, if you say who's spending spending a lot of money, I can simply be blunt to tell you that CDC is spending more money. And I will tell you one reason. CDC just opened a radio station in Buchanan called the Bassa FM, right? CDC got, a lot of different musical sets in the different communities as compared to other political parties. So if your NPD is playing music on a daily basis at the party quarter, people eating there, Janje Bakber from CDC guy, of the music playing, Matthew Joe from CDC playing music, Bassa for We Are playing their music. But here in Grand Bassa, like you look at the Alternative National Congress or the CPP, you got the office of Charlie Bronskin and the CPP office, right?
So
in the
so they so,
district,
so
you
they're
got Thomas
using the
Boswa
CPP more. Okay, I
as
got
the
you.
key
I got you.
So following the 3 M's.
That's where I am. So other than when you ask about who's spending more money, I will give you.
So if we follow the 3 M's, money, the manpower, and the message, CDC leads.
That's not what he said.
The debate of Grand Bassa County is over.
I won't want to say CDC lead because to be real, I've not really captured the key message. Because you look at message when you say is it CDC lead and the money, manpower, and message. Let's look at the message. Their message is that we've been working, we want to work more. And the others are saying the country, Liberians are still struggling. And for real, Liberians still, normally on my show, I say, Liberians live on the code 001 with breakfast, no lunch. You eat in the evening. At times I use the code 00 question bar, no breakfast, no lunch. You are not sure getting something in the evening. Those are just,
yes, but I understand that the message that you
my background I'm from, right? So
I understand the message that you're revealing here, but I don't know whether you heard the CDC message completely. Because
Mr. Blamo, we are asking for an objective opinion. In the United States, when we do polling, okay, when you see they tell you that this is the poll, that would be an aggregate. They will have 10,000 polls, and they will add them together and then divide it by 1,000, and then they give you the mean. That's what polling does. Okay, for him, he said they did maybe 2 polling, and 1 polling, Georgia won. Mr.
No, it was 3 polling. What I want 2.
Listen.
3 polling. Listen,
and the margin is 10 votes. So
there was another margin with 21 votes as well.
Listen to this. Georgia won. Listen, Georgia won 51. Georgia won. Waka 51 to 86. So the margin is bigger. When Waka won.
Georgia won. No. The man is on the radio. I will not allow you to give misleading information.
Okay. Mr. Tiah, the poll that Georgia
all three.
No. Come on now. We're talking about margin of error here. I'm talking about margin. If you won me by 10, and I win you by 40, you are not winning.
Let the man re-echo. Let the man
but
re-announce what he has
you are not
so
listening. This is what I do as a social statistician. That's what I do for a living. I'm telling you how it works. You are not listening. All you are listening was he won 2, but 1-2 by what margin? The guy said 10 votes. If you won by 10 votes,
no, one was 10 and one was 21.
Yeah, 21 and 10.
So that's 30. That's 30 points.
That's 30, and now being by 40, you still down by 10. That's how it works.
No, he did not leave by 40, though. That's what I'm trying to tell you. He did not leave by 40.
He beat you by 40, and you beat me by 30.
Okay, the man right here, right now.
Okay,
let the man come back and repeat what he said.
Okay, he's gonna come on back. So this is how we do. This is how we do polling in the United States, Mr. Tiah. Real quick, they polled that President Weah won. What was the margin? Can you give us that number, please?
I don't know. The network keep embarrassing. I'm not hearing the question.
Okay, you mentioned that Joe Weah won the first. Joe Weah won the first poll. What was the number when you called?
You talking about the polls, the results that we get?
Yeah, the first one.
Oh, okay, thank you. So we were very specific with the polls, and we said the first one, George, we are a margin of I think it was 50, a little over 50, but the margin was between a 16 to 17 margin. Let me try to get that again.
16 to 17, good.
No, listen. He said.
He's trying to get it that way.
Listen, he said 51 to 86. So let me give you the number.
Please, let me get my pen.
While he's looking for the numbers, we will be going after this. We will be going to trucking. We'll be talking about trucking, the positive and negative trucking. So, guys, be ready for the segment for the trucking.
Yeah. I wanna while we're waiting for Mr. Tiah to get these polls, I don't know if it's that significant, really, because it's just a poll.
Not at all.
It's just a poll.
It is.
But the sample size is so small.
It's just a poll.
Because listen, there's something we call statistically. Listen. When we're talking about statistically insignificant, that means the margin of error for you to say I have a lead would be like President Trump and my governor in Florida here. The margin is so wide, it's 59% to 22. In that case, we can say that President Trump is going to wrap up the nomination in no time.
All right, let me tell you the mistake you're making. Let me tell you the mistake you're making. The mistake you're making is you're putting all of the polls together, forgetting to know that the most recent poll actually indicates. Hold on.
Mr. Kramer, since I do polling, I'm telling you how it works. You combine all the polling and you average them out, and the number you get is what the polling is. You don't go by the most recent, the last recent. If you get 10 polling, you add them up, you divide it by 10. That's how it works.
Mr. Gilman, I will not talk. You must not talking about your Democratic Party in America. I'm telling you what's happening in Buchanan right now in Liberia. Hold on, let me finish.
No. Mr. Tiah is ready.
Okay, go ahead.
Can you call the numbers, please?
Yeah. So these are different ones. The first one. And this is the second one. You're not going to see them good. And the third one. Though we are not really tying this to the pools that we held, but I'm going to announce this We are 64. These are the two with me right now.
Which
Okay.
which
So
one?
we are is leading. I want to ask you something, Mr. Tiah,
Bring me the other
great
one.
briefly. That the social issues like um teenage pregnancy,
I didn't even
um
understand what the man said.
Let's see.
drugs,
Let's go. Drug,
drugs, teenage pregnancy, drugs, safety and security, thieves, breaking in the house.
armed
These
robbery.
issues, what do you think the people of Bassa have the central idea around these social issues? And how do you think that might influence who they vote for?
Say that again.
Okay, social issues like we hear that Bassa there's a high degree of teenage pregnancy.
And armed robbery.
And we hear that there's also the drug abuse as it is expanding throughout the country. We also hear that there's a large degree of armed robbery and thieving, stealing. How do you see the citizens responding to these social issues, and how may that influence their vote?
All right. You know, the issue about teenage pregnancy, firstly, I want to be clear, it started. I and this is something that all of the government from President Salif to George Weah is still increasing on a daily basis. Except for the fact that the family planning, services trying to help, but it's still key. And these things are simply happening because Liberia is now, just a country where every young man eye is open up to social activities on a daily basis within our country. You see your child between 12 to 13 years, they are already open up to social activities, knowing about the sexual intercourse and different things. But we've also gathered that many of them are into it because they do not have people really talking to them, them the technical know how to go about life. So as it relates to that, it's actually increasing. And it's actually a kind of a message that all of us need to talk to our young people. Our young people are really involved into too many social activities than the educational activities. Should we be blaming national government? Well, it's something for all of us to discuss because I can't really sit here to say let's tight 100% around government, but I think it's something that we almost just keep giving the message. You talk about drugs. The issue about drugs is really a major fight for Liberia. During my birthday on June 5, if you go on my Facebook page, you'll see I posted, I told the disadvantaged youth that I'll be preparing food for 300 disadvantaged youths. And I posted that on Facebook. Previously, I said 100, later I said 200, and then I had to go to 300 because they kept pulling. It will shock you to know that we end up providing food of close to 500 of them, only in Buchanan City alone. And you won't believe that you got up to 500 disadvantaged. Even where I'm seated right now, right outside the station, I'm to the station. There's a club there called 704. You go there, you see not less to 30, 40 of them standing along the road begging. It's as a result of drugs. You go in the rural areas, you see disadvantaged youth there. Everywhere you go, you see them. It's as a result of drugs. Many a time, if you check my Facebook page, I'm always with them, interviewing them. At times, they blame the government. At times, they blame themselves. Why do they blame themselves at times? Because they allow friends to carry them away. At times, they blame the government because they believe within themselves that the drugs come from out of the country and come into the country. And some of them believe within themselves that the government should be putting system into place to avoid drugs from coming into the country. That's what some of them will normally say. They say, and we did one interview with him on why he thinks President Weah should be re-elected. I think you saw that video that went very well on a and we took him from there. He's been rehabilitated. Credit was just right out here. He just came to speak to me, and he's out here sitting down, right in front of the station. You want to see? I can even bring him in, and he will give you reasons why he don't want to even take the drugs again. He believed that they, as young people themselves, they should be able to know the right from wrong. The government too should get a position to play that will not be coming to the country. So it's just a hard situation to analyze because the drugs is coming. The young people themselves, they are taking it. Why are they taking it? Because I believe that obviously it's going to
Mr. Gamer, can I ask him a question?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know if he can.
Yeah, he can hear you now. Go ahead.
I don't know if he can. I don't know if he can hear me, but
Yeah,
I'm
he can
glad
hear
he
you
cut
now.
him. I'm glad he cut himself at the end of the day because people, blaming the government for the drugs coming into the country, and that's the reason why they're using drugs. Many of us who live in the United States, the proliferation of drug in this country is immense. So it doesn't mean that because there's a lot of drug in this country, you just go and start taking drugs and you blame the U.S. custom for allowing drugs to enter into this country. You know how many billions of dollars the United States government spend every year on the Coast Guard, on the DEA to try to stop drugs from entering this country, and drugs still enter. So nobody should blame the government for allowing drugs to enter. It's a personal responsibility that every individual should take for using or not using drugs. And if he can tell us what was the difference in Buchanan during the time of Ellen Johnson Sirleaf in terms of job opportunities for the youth compared to President Weah, and if he's going to talk about concessions, let him say how specifically George Weah took away those concessions or the unmailed people that was in the country, and if it was George Weah's fault that they left, because they're blaming this government for the ills that's going on in Buchanan, people using drugs, teenagers getting pregnant. How is this government directly involved in it? That's why I want to understand.
But to be honest, to his defense, he didn't blame the government. He says the proliferation of social media. As far employment, he said that the government actually, he said today he went on a site where the government is actually providing jobs. The cement factory just opened. So I don't think he shifting blame here. But Mr. Tiah, you can give a stab at what I would like for you to talk about would be the job creation, what is going on now and what it was before. I think he's frozen. He's frozen. But Mr. Eastman.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, we are talking about the proliferation of drugs, I think.
Yeah. The reason
okay, he's back. Go ahead.
Okay. The reason I ask these questions is because I want to know how the Bassa people, do these issues, do they matter to the people in the county? And maybe because they matter, that may sway their vote one way or the other.
Mr. Tiah, can you hear us? Wow, the internet is bad. Okay, Mr. Tiah, if you can hear us, let's move on to the next topic of trucking. What is your understanding of trucking? What is the positive side of trucking and what's the negative side of trucking, if there's any?
Mr. Gamer, the issue about trucking in Liberia, we just keep giving the messages out to our people. What happens is that the politicians are very crafty. That's what I want to say. They are very crafty to the extent that if we don't keep educating or we sit back and we don't educate the people, it will not stop. The last time during the voter registration period, there were massive trucking going on across from different candidates or different aspirants, but then they were all aspirants going on. And we were involved in going to get those stories from them and hear from them who were those they were bringing. It was shocking that majority of politicians, they have one, like in they are Bassa people who are outside of Grand Bassa that want to come in to vote, but they do not have the resources, so we got to bring them in the country to vote. You ask the next one to tell you, there are people who have been out of Bassa for some years and they need to come back to vote. So obviously, since we got a means of bringing them to vote, they are the ones who bring them to vote. That's just a justification. listen to some of the citizens, they will tell you, bluntly, look, the people brought us so that we can be able to vote for that person. But the people themselves who bringing them will tell you that they are people from outside of the county, but they are from the county. They do not have the resources to come back to vote. They are the ones they bring in. So what we you in on grounds that he trumped you. When he's elected, he believes that the following election he will still bring another team in. He might not focus on bringing out the real things for the situation that is difficult to control. Because all of the different politicians will tell you, oh, I'm bringing this person in. They are from the county and they need to come back to vote, but they don't have the resources. So got them. How did you get you? Them people to just say one of them. Some of them are carried away, with just little or nothing. Some of them want to go and see other places. So it's just a win-win situation in our country. Only education, most civic voter educations can help these people up.
Mr. Tiah, let me push back on that statement because even in this America, there's something here called busing, where politicians, especially for the Democratic Party, where you have a lot of poor people voting Democratic, older women, especially African American people who can afford transportation or who themselves cannot drive. The Democratic Party, with their grassroots, organizations, will make sure they secure buses, these big buses for those people to transport them to the voting, the voting booth. So people doing that in Liberia is not a form of vote buying. There's a lot of poor people who can afford transportation from Monrovia to Buchanan, for example, to go vote to the register, precinct. So it's not necessarily a bad thing. Many advanced countries do it, especially for those people who are poor and can't afford transportation. So let us not put anything that's, except the fact that they're poor and they need some form of transportation and the government provides it. Let's just clarify that.
Mr. Tiah, Mr. Kamara, you want to say something?
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes. Mr. Tiah, I'm really enjoying it tonight. See, I have not come here tonight to debate you, but rather to learn from you, given that I live in the diaspora, USA, and you are actually on the ground. Now, there are a couple of things. People spending money and therefore voters, because of hardship, they have to show up to these people. It is clear that it doesn't apply to JMB because we don't have money. But the thing is, but I'm on the floor. I'm on the floor.
You have a question.
Please, man.
But let me land. I'm on the floor, and I refuse to allow anyone to misinterpret your statements here. Somebody said that you said George Weah is leading in the poll. No. Every indication I see here, I'm doing my mouth right here. Hey, Mr. Wait a minute now.
We're not on that. We are on trucking.
But let me finish. Mr. Gimme wants to add the entire three poll together. Joseph Boakai still leads by nearly 19 points if he wants to add all of it together.
Listen.
But let me finish now, Mr. Gimme. But you have to let me finish.
No, Mr. Kamara. Listen, you are using the wrong terminology. Points point in polling is equivalent to minimum 10,000. Okay, he may be leading by a vote, which is a single vote. When you say point, you're talking about the difference of 10,000. So that's not what you're talking about. So you
okay. Let me explain what I want to say. Hopefully,
18%. Are you kidding me?
The deal here is that CDC is not leading in Buchanan. But let me finish now.
Mr. Kamara, nobody is leading. He told you
let me make my own. Can I talk my own? Can I talk my own?
It's a statistical tie. It's a statistical tie, Mr. Kamara.
Can I talk my own?
Listen,
if I don't learn, how do you know?
I think we just come back to the talking point so that we can be discussing.
You have to allow me to finish what I'm saying.
We are talking about trucking here. Okay, let's say you were in Buchanan. Okay, let's look at the positive side of trucking and negative side. Okay, let's say I'll just go ahead and leave the show, man. I can't take this. Mr. Finley is launching his campaign in Buchanan. He has supporters in district number 1, way all the way to Orange Grove. They want to come to his luncheon. He got supporters in Baywin. He got supporters in number 2. He got supporters in Upper Buchanan. These people want to come. If he provides transportation for them to come from Orange Grove to Bassa, those are his legitimate supporters. Is he trucking negatively, or he has the resources to bring his people that want to see him?
I believe that we have established here that some level of transportation is necessary, and the parties are taking on themselves to assist with this transportation. And the terminology trucking is a political one.
Sure.
We are actually just assisting the voters move from point A to point B. The fact that some people want to use it as a sightseeing, as Mr. Tiah has said, cannot be helped. If I'm living in an area and I want to come to Buchanan, and there's something going on in Buchanan, and it's not unusual to go to that function in Buchanan, and then on my way back buy some stuff for my relatives and come back. So it's a whole trip that they make, and it's a result of poverty. So it's not necessarily the party doing something wrong in assisting some level of transportation.
Mr. Blamo.
Yes.
And Jimmy, Mr. Morris, take this from me, because I was in charge of something here in Florida, in South Florida, in my region, called Souls to the Polls. I don't know if you guys, you Google that, Mr. Jimmy Eastman, we call it Souls to the Polls. Is on any given Sunday, when we had independent voting where you could vote anytime within the range, the churches would get together and they would provide buses to take their parishioners from church to the polls and back. We call it Souls to the Polls. You can Google that. It is a legitimate, it is a mode of transportation, a method that we use. So in Liberia, we call it trucking, but it's a method that is a budgetary aspect of it. There's a huge amount of money set aside to take the souls from souls to the poll from church on Sunday. Millions of them, the black churches, Sunday. We take them right after church, put them on the big buses, take them to the nearest voting precinct, and they vote. That's a huge amount of money spent. So yeah, you could call that trucking, but but Mr. Tiah, I know we held you too long. It's 30 minutes past your time. Can you give us your closing statement here? Tell us exactly what you think will transpire from now to election. They would like to bring you back maybe 2 Sundays from now, so you can come back and update us on how the election is going. Can you give us a closing statement? I know it's late in Liberia there.
All right. Well, I want to say thanks to the team for inviting me, and I'm hoping that one of these days they can be on my platform so that they could also listen to the callers as well. And I'm hoping we all can just plan something to have everyone there where we can have people debating the issue and giving the audience a chance. You can listen to them as well. But I want to say thanks. All we need to do is to keep educating our people. Let's give them the right message that will make Liberia a place that all of us will enjoy. And one thing is to maintain the peace, because Liberians are enjoying the peace. And we must commend the Georgia government for helping to maintain the peace, because under President Sally Jane, we had our own meal, but since she left, the citizens have been managing themselves through their own security. I must commend that. But thanks again, and I'm hoping to join you another time. Once I'm called upon, I will be available. Thanks again.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Tiah. And let us know, Mr. Eastman, Mr. Blamo, Mr. Morris, and myself. I think Mr. Kamara will love to come, and Mr. Gay will love to come on your platform.
My man will provide an internet service so you can have a better Wi-Fi service, so when you come out, you can't fall off, because we want to make sure that the people will have the opportunity to ask the tough questions to make their opinion on her and the other different things. Look, what about now for CPP? Look, I like.
Thank you, Mr. Tiah.
Anthony, buying the main internet when I get a CPP any more votes, my man. Buying the main internet when I get CPP votes.
You are excused. You can leave. I know.
Make it happen. Come on the street. Talk about what?
No, I will arrange it.
We try to buy votes, my man. Try to buy votes.
I'm not buying
Mr. Gaiman. Mr. Gaiman, I'd like to address this trucking. We got to put it in proper perspective. Trucking, like you talk about souls to the poor, bringing people to vote is not the thing. But you are only supposed to be entitled to one vote.
So we just got a new internet system in the county. We'll work on that.
Very good.
Go ahead.
One vote. That's all it's supposed to be. So I can bring you, if you want, from Nuku time to Effie. When you vote that one time, finish. But when you vote 2-3 times, that is why the trucking is suspect. Because people think
Mr. Eastman.
There's nothing wrong with trucking anybody anywhere if you only get one vote.
Mr. Eastman, there is no way you will vote in. They will truck you from Monrovia to Bassa, you vote and then go back to Monrovia and vote. It's impossible. You can't do that.
But why is trucking a problem?
No, it's not. That's what Mr. Blama was saying. It's a political terminology. People call it. People want to discourage, and one of my other folks say, "Oh, ANC don't have that many people. They might have trucked these people, or CDC pay these people and truck them." It is a way of undermining to discourage someone to say, "Oh, that number is not real." But trucking. It is something like recently the men were talking about. Some people say they took people from Monrovia and took them. Some people say he said as far as Bond County took them to register in Bassa. Do you know what it takes from Bond County to Bassa? If they took you there, like the last time, Mr. Gay, they said I think one of the candidates took people from Monrovia, 10 buses to Lofa. He took them and he lost the election and left the people there. Never went to bring them back to Monrovia. So trucking has its own side. It has a negative
Mr.
side.
Gaiman, my understanding is that there's a mechanism in place to curtail trucking because, for example, you can only vote at the precinct that you're registered at. So they'll have your name on that voter roll. So even if you come from Monrovia, you're not registering in Buchanan to vote, they're not going to allow you to vote because your name won't be on that voter roll.
But what Elton Tiah was talking about doing the voter registration, they trucked in a lot of folks from Monrovia that said they were from the county. They wanted to vote in the county, but they didn't have the resources. So the politician provided the resources, brought them in, and then took them back. Now
that's what. No, I'm only responding to Mr. Victor Nambo's comment that he's saying that intra trucking and inter trucking it's not the case.
Okay, Mr. Gay, go ahead.
So that trucking thing, I think some of you are underestimating this whole trucking thing. There are instances where people was booked by doing illegal thing with the trucking thing. So here's the thing: when they truck people to the various district or county, they withhold their voter registration card.
That's correct.
And then during the voting day, individual will show up with more than 10, 15 voter cards. Once they enter into the precinct, they got somebody in there who also get a multiple voting card that they can mark. We caught that in Grangie there. We caught that in Montserrat during the Delon time when the CPP were together. These things happen. All right? So we should not come here and pretend as though there's no one. Right now, as we speak, Buchanan Bees in Grangie County not supposed to have voter registration cards. They do. Right now, many of them have been caught with those voter registration cards. We don't know what will transpire on election day.
And that's trucking, right? That's due to trucking.
Right?
We are talking about trucking now.
Yeah,
that's not due to trucking.
This guy from Ivory Coast. And
the people keen there to look for farming opportunity. They've been living there, not because of voting business.
Well, let me say this. We have the Crown people from Buchanan. That sound just the Crown people in Grange there. They speak the same Crown. The only difference is that they mix their Crown with French. In certain aspects, they will put some French in it. But if the Neo man from Buchanan speaking, then the Neo man in Grange there, they sound just the same.
So
It's not just the
what
same.
does that
As
mean?
Hold on now.
It's a-
Hold on.
These are generalizations.
That's correct.
These are
You know,
anecdotal,
Generalization, these things are
Yeah.
happening.
I'm
But
not saying
not
they're not
widespread enough to change your
instant.
election, Anthony Gate.
Yeah,
Not widespread
yeah.
enough.
They're not widespread enough. I'm not saying they're not one or two happening, but the presentation is there is a massive, sufficient to influence the election results.
That's what we're talking about.
Yeah, but that is not correct.
Who won in Grand Jury County today? If we had not caught 3 different locations, he would have lost the election.
But
Anthony, those things are anecdotal, Malipe.
You caught 5 people.
Let me make a correction here because
Yeah,
I think the U.S. ambassador made this clear. The way we promulgate, the way we talk in the diaspora, he says it has the propensity to undermine our institutions in Liberia.
Oh, man.
That's what the U.S. ambassador said. I'm not saying it. He said, you sit in the comfort of your home in the United States and you enjoy our First Amendment rights. And you sit there and you want to brew chaos in your own home to undermine the institution that we are building, we are spending money to build. So for you to sit here now and categorically, make that kind of generalization that Burkinabes are coming and registering to vote.
First of all, do you know we have over 20,000 Burkinabes in Grand Jury Forest that are not registered?
Listen,
how sure are you the 20,000 are going to vote, Anthony? How sure are you they're going to vote in the election?
Can you show all the proof of the 20,000 people that registered to vote, please?
That have voting cards are going to vote in these elections.
Pay attention. I didn't say register to vote. I said over 20,000 Burkinabes that do not have resident permit to be in Liberia in the Grand Jury Forest.
Go call the border control people on there. Let them arrest them and put them back to Burkina Faso.
Most of them today were caught with voter registration cards.
Oh, Anthony, how many of them?
How many? What's the definition of most of them?
Yeah, what's the number? Quantify.
Yeah.
So let me just say this, right? Many of you may not know the amount of Burkinabes in the Grand Jury Forest.
Anthony Gay, I understand that situation more than you.
I understand that.
What do you mean more than me?
Well, you don't want to cry on the platform?
Yes.
Come on, man.
You know our relationship. I understand. In Grand Jury, there are a lot of Burkina Faso people there. But that doesn't necessarily come to the conclusion that there is a massive fraud from people from Burkina Faso. What you just described is also in Nima. I work with CNC,
there you go.
of Nima County, and people across the Ivory Coast were living.
People come from Danane. People come from to the place to Grand Jury. People come from Danane to Nima. It doesn't mean anything. People do that all the time.
And Joe Burger himself, he got family in Sierra Leone.
You can't catch because the man speak the crown down. You will not know if the man speak the crown down. You don't know if he's a Liberian or Ivorian.
We understand that.
A male come from Danane and speak down. You not know if he's from Liberia.
Are influencing our votes.
They are.
We understand that.
How just that Grand One? How just that Red Peking is a representative today?
All the people that give a Ivory Coast.
On the United Party ticket, right? He has joined the United Party right now to be on the rescue team. How do you think that he won his election?
He won by vote.
Voter keep from to the place.
Voters keep for Ivory Coast. It will be difficult to swallow that one.
Ladies and gentlemen,
let me just say this. Sometimes you guys.
Let's move
on.
Let's bring our show back into focus.
There's an issue and thing that is okay to do. It is not fair, right?
Yes.
There is no way you can
it is not okay. But we want legitimate discussion that we can contribute to. It's not okay.
No.
But we want a legitimate conversation we can contribute to.
Right.
Listen,
let's go to the next topic.
This is the final topic. This is our final topic. We're going to be addressing the comments. And if we get some calls, we address the calls. But this was a great show. I like what I heard. We are getting information directly
I'm
from the
excited for
ground,
Bassa.
and we have a standing invitation, gentlemen. He wants every one of us to appear on Ableejay TV. I'm going to look for the time. I'm going to look for the time that will fit everybody, so we can go on there and face
Let's do on the weekend.
On the ground, take some questions, and interact with the folks, the real folks on the ground. Like he said before, and you and I know Mr. Kamara was upset because we're saying what he's saying there, just like Sam Wallo said here, it is unscientific. So no one can say, the man said it from the beginning. Bassa, no one can claim that they own Bassa. Nobody can claim that they are winning. He said he cannot actually put the number to who's leading and who's not leading. But he said he did some anecdotal polls, and he said they are not scientific because there could be 2-3 people in the same room making calls, same person. So all
they can be focused in the same area and not in widespread diverse communities. So it doesn't reflect the people of Bassa.
So it is not, Mr. Gay, you know how we do scientific polling. You will go on the street, we will agree in advance that
at least the people in the street at least can give you a picture.
Yeah, but not only that, but we will go in the street and we say we will target every 5th person we come across. Not everybody, but every 5th person, because you will have 3 people from the same home on the same party waiting. You go out there, you will get 3. But if I say every 5 person that I come across, I'm going to ask them and interview them to answer the same question.
That's how they do it in America.
That's how we do it. But you go to the bar, you go to Grand Bassa County, you go downtown Buchanan, in Matthew Joe's stronghold. He's a supporter of CDC. They're having their party. You go there and interview 100 folks. They also were voting for George, but you come back and say, well, the election is over. Come back at 100%. That's not
right.
That's how they've been doing that polling.
That's what it's called, the sample size. It has to be diverse.
But this is why Mr. Kamara did not want to accept that if it's unscientific, anybody can claim anything. And he said, no, he walked off the show because he wants us to say the polls that were giving Waka is winning, and that's not what the man said. And
if I may, Mr. Gayman, here's another thing he said. Bezonga Phoenix is reaching out to the Bazona and saying,
that's
the
correct.
confusion that we had before, let us come together. We are one people.
Correct.
We are one people. We are one people. That is a powerful message. Because you have Councilor Charlene Bronson here, you have His Excellency, what's his name? Bessa Phoenix. He earned that Excellency title, by the way. And
Anthony Gay, no one group is a political monolith in Liberia. No ethnic group is a political monolith. So they're not one people. There are diverse political views within that group.
Bessa Phoenix is on the ballot. Councilor Charlene Bronson is on the ballot. Normally, Kangalori is not on the ballot.
So what are you saying that what's the guy saying that all the ballot posts should coalesce around ANC or CPP because they're all one people? They shouldn't vote for the Unity Party or the CDC because they're all one people. They should vote one way. Is that a sound message to you? Come on, man.
No. That's not what he said. That's not what he said.
Okay.
What he said?
He did not say that, Ernest.
Mr. Blamo, let's go around the room. We got another show coming up in 15 minutes. Give me your assessment of talking to Mr. Tiah, the politics on the ground. What is your assessment? What do you take from his?
That's not what I said.
My assessment of of the discussion here is that Grand Bassa County is a tussle, and there's no clear indication that any of the parties are leading. And there are factors that are very strong that you cannot ignore. And one of those factors is the one that Mr. Gay is talking about. However, it still boils down to a tussle. Then Mr. Tiah also said he uses 3M. The money is one of them. And in his assessment, he feels that if there's consistency in the spending and the message and the mobilization, a party will come out a clear winner. What also interests me there was he justified.
The man talking about let me finish.
Yeah, he justified and the drug use as something that people would take personal responsibility for. I wanted to ask him, how does he look at the poverty issue, and as compared to the two, but there were not enough time. But it was an interesting discussions, and I acknowledge the people in Buchanan to vote their conscience. This is a very, very important election. Thank you.
Mr. Eastman,
Uh,
I
you know,
want you to address this. What's on the screen?
with Mr. Gongolo, I'm totally ashamed of FOL as a credible platform to allow unscientific and substandard self-selected opinion poll result to to be announced on the platform. I need to remind the learned brother Gongolo that in this there was a poll held in the U.S., which is supposed to be way advanced in Liberia, where the opinion poll that was held, they made phone calls to certain people, and the results came that there was going to be an overwhelming majority to vote for a particular presidential candidate, and the opposite happened. The sample set is what makes the difference. So he can go about. Anyone can come up with a poll, and it can be as scientifically done. But always look at the sample set. Where are you asking these people to that voting? Are you going to a bar that is a CDC bar? Then the majority will be CDC voting for it. So for him to say it's unscientific and all of that, it is always going to be issues that floor any pool. Okay, so for that matter. But I like to say that the brother that came on, he gave us a little bit of an introspection into what's going on in all around the country. There's a drug issue, there's a drug problem, and it has to be addressed. And he talked about teenage pregnancy has been going on for some time. He doesn't blame that on the government, but that is a social issue. So we just like Mr. Blamo said, these issues that are affecting us, having jobs, the youth drug abuse, teenage pregnancy, security and theft and murder, these things have to be addressed. So when you're going to the poll, you need to think, who will actually resolve this? Who you believe will actually make a change? Don't go and say, oh, I like this person. Is that gonna be? We have to be rational. That we need someone who actually, when you hear these politicians going around, listen to them. Are they prepared to address the problem, or they just want your vote? And that's the only way I can admonish our people in Bassa. Thank you.
Mr. Namwe, excuse me, not Mr. Namwe, Mr. Gay. I don't know which state you're in now because I know you travel, but my Florida, my Buccaneer, Tampa Bay Buccaneers just beat the. If you're from Minnesota, I see most of the Minnesotans they come on today. We just beat Minnesota, so Victor is having a confliction here.
Oh.
He's watching us.
What you say about Elvis? What you say about Elvis?
Elvis from Minnesota.
No, he says he's conflated between us. He's flipping between us and the Philadelphia Eagles. Well,
I gotta tell the Eagle game.
Yeah, and I see.
I gotta tell the Eagle game.
I could look at Elvis's face and tell
that quarterback Kirk Cousins, you have to go. We gotta trade that guy. Like ASAP, you gotta trade him.
I could look at Mr. Morris's face and tell that he was in pain. He was in pain.
I was trying not to even look at that game until the final score came on and just hope that the Vikings won. Yeah, man.
Let me say this, right? We should not sit here and pretend. One thing I respect the Bassa people for is that when they're voting, they vote one way. So Bassa is not just Grand Bassa County. It's Riverside, it's Mangibi County. Cape Mount, you name it, and Lower Nima County, if I'm not mistaken. The way the analysis went today. If Bassa stand a better chance to win the senatorial seat, that's a vote for Cummings. If Charlene Bronsky is the one the Bassa people are looking at to be their representation, that's a vote for Cummings. Don't sit here and pretend. It's not because I'm from the CPP. There's no ANC on the ballot. You stop confusing our people. You will not see ANC on that ballot. Look for CPP, the collaborating political party.
Thank you for the correction.
So our people need to know it is on the CPP on the ticket. ANC is not registered to be a political party. It is a CPP that is registered. Yeah. And so we go with the CPP. However, this drug issue here that Elvis and others want to sweep under the rug and they quit to come to the United States. America drug issue is completely different from Liberia drug issue. Why? Go to New Hampshire today, or Vermont, not New Hampshire, the state of Bernie Sanders, Vermont. Every 11 minutes, according to statistics, not me, every 11 minutes, somebody is overdosed and dying from opioid drug addiction in the state of Vermont. Every 11 minutes. You understand? America drug issue.
So that blame the American government then for allowing the opioids to run rampant.
Lack of leadership of our government. That's
so the American drug issue is not a lack of leadership, huh? But the Liberian one is.
Okay, guys.
Prescription drugs is different from other drugs. Opioid is a prescription drug. Somebody get injured, they have a car accident, they fracture their leg, and they get all the narcotics, and they get addicted to it. Their own prescription, they die from it. It's different from somebody going and using different substance. Just stop this comparison sometime.
We have that same problem in the United States when it comes to substance abuse.
Liberia problem today is job issue. People are very poor and they get frustrated and then peer pressure take them up and they start doing other stuff. Most of these people, when they have job, when they get, that's the reason why the CPP plan is clear. First of all, detox these people, clear them out, get them vocational training, put them back into society so they can be productive citizens of Liberia. Stop calling them Zogo. Detox them first.
Let me go quick on my analysis.
And train them, get them a set of skills. Some of them already have skills, enhance that skill that they already have. So that's what we need to do. And that's why we are the fixer team, because we understand what at stake and how to get it fixed. So I want to thank the gentleman from Grand Bassa, the journalist, Mr. Tiah, for his expose. Yes, everything he will say here, some of it will be, bias, some of it will be personal opinion, some of it will be based on his personal assessment. But we thank him for his time. We look forward to, having the opportunity where we will have the voters in Grand Bassa County listening to us, and they will ask their question, and we'll also speak to them directly. I look forward to that. Mr. Gaiman, don't leave me out of the loop. Keep me in the loop, and let's make that happen.
Thank you very much. I think you've been very, very, very steady. I like your analysis. That's why I always invite you. And this is your home. You come on anytime. Mr. Elvis, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Gaiman. One of the things that Mr. Tiah said that caught my mind was that he said that the people in Grand Bassa see Joseph Boyka as somebody who can transform their life. And I thought for me that put a red flag up, because it seemed that he may have some implicit bias towards Joseph Boyka. Because the reality is Joseph Boyka was there for 12 years. How would the people of Grand Bassa County lives transform? I have maternal links that link back to Grand Bassa County from my mother's father's side. So pretty much I'm half Bassa. My mother is Bassa. So if he's talking about the people of Grand Bassa see Joseph Boyka, a sleeping old man who did nothing for them for 12 years, as somebody who's going to transform their life, I thought that kind of exposed who he was leaning to personally. But this whole issue of the drug thing that we're talking about in the trucking, the reality is, first of all, I would blame President Weah, because, his first 5 years in politics, he really didn't pay too much attention to Grand Bassa County. And I think right now he's feeling some of the tension, because he paid attention to Nimba, he paid attention to Monserrato, but he kind of neglected Grand Bassa County. Not a lot of development really went on in Grand Bassa. So the people haven't seen his hand in the county, so to speak. So that's why he's struggling a little bit against Joseph Boyka, because he has young, Kanga with him, and people are kind of disillusioned by his presidency in Grand Bassa County. But for people to say that the government is to blame for people using drugs, a personal choice that an individual would take, I have friends who I was, friendly with during my teenage years. Some of them became, addicted to certain substances, and I never did. That doesn't mean that the government put it in my hand or put it in their hand for them to use it. It was a personal choice that they made. So nobody should blame this government for people using drugs. During the wartime, there was drug in that country. During Elton time, there was drug in that country. There are people who are not working, people who are very poor, who can barely afford to eat every day. They don't turn to drug. That's not the first thing that they do is to run and turn to drug. So nobody should blame the government. Sure, the government can do more, but it's not. We have competing priorities in that country. We don't have hundreds of millions of dollars to spend reinforcing the DEA or reinforcing the borders. We have more important things that the government have to pay attention to. It just means that certain things will go, without funding because there are more important things that the government have to spend money on. So for me, people blaming the government for drug use is asinine. I don't think it holds water. Personal responsibility comes into play, and responsible citizenry comes into play. So for me, I think overall the analysis is that Joseph Boyka is doing well in Grand Bassa. In Grand Bassa, the president is a close second. I think he needs to step up his game, put more resources there, and really focus on trying to at least be very competitive in Grand Bassa. Even if you lose by a couple of percentage points, he will still be in a good position. So overall, I thank the gentleman for coming on, but I think his analysis, for me, in my view, was a little skewed towards the Unity Party. That's just how I view. But I'll leave it there. Thank you, Mr. Gaiman.
Great.
Mr. Gaiman, 10 seconds. The $100 million drug that the United States helped the George Weah-led government to track down. Those people walk free. We don't know what $100 million worth of drug went. So
there was a $100 million worth of drug in San Francisco port that nobody was caught for in this country. Come on, man.
Guys. Mr. Gay, don't say that because the people were tried and the court found them not guilty and
they walk free. And what happened to the
they didn't walk free. Yes, they were free men because they were adjudicated and they were found not guilty. That's the law of the land. So you can't say that.
The voter will make a decision on
the drugs
we can have this discussion on another show.
That's correct. And the drugs were destroyed. I just want to put that to it. Ladies and gentlemen, we have another show coming up. Mr. Blamo, thank you very much for coming. Mr. Morris, thank you very much. Mr. Eastman, thank you very much. Next Sunday, same time, same place, same dial, we'll be here. And we'll introduce more topics. We'll have more guests coming on. And I think Mr. Blamo is going to have more time to do more analysis and do more lecturing as he professes to do and do very well. Mr. Morris, thank you very much for being steady, coming all the time. Let's do it. Ladies and gentlemen, show stay at 6 o'clock. We have another show coming. And as usual, we have our song that says, one minute. Let me go to our closing song here. Our closing song here. Let me go to our closing song.
We all love you, man.